Someone in your life is pulling your strings right now. Not a stranger. Not some villain. Someone you trust. And the scariest part? You've been letting them do it because you never learned to see it. That ends today. I want you to think about one person in your life. Could be a partner, a boss, a parent, a friend. Now ask yourself, why do you always feel slightly off after talking to them? Why do you leave conversations feeling guilty about something you're not even sure you did? There's a reason. And by the end of this, you're going to see it so clearly it'll make your stomach drop. We're going deep today. 7 psychological tricks that people use, consciously or not, to control your behavior, your emotions, and your reality. Once you see them, you can't unsee them. Let's go. Section 1, Gaslighting. The reality eraser. Here's a question. What if someone could make you doubt your own memory, your own perception, your own sanity? Not with drugs. Not with hypnosis. Just words. That's gaslighting. And it's more common than you think. Here's how it works. You remember something clearly. A conversation. A promise. Something they did. And when you bring it up, they don't just disagree. They dismantle you. That never happened. You're so sensitive. You always twist things. It's not a debate. It's an erasure. The real-life version looks like this. You're in a relationship. You remember your partner saying they'd be home by 8. They show up at midnight. You say something. And suddenly, somehow, you're the problem. You're too controlling. You're insecure. You're making things up. You walk away confused. Apologizing. For being lied to. That's the genius of gaslighting. It doesn't just win the argument. It makes you forget there was an argument to begin with. But here's the truth. When someone consistently makes you feel crazy for having accurate memories, that's not a communication problem. That's a control strategy. The way to break it? Write things down. Date them. Trust your receipts over their revisions. Your memory is not the enemy. Their manipulation is. Section 2, Love Bombing. The sweetest trap. Pay attention to this one. Because it doesn't feel like manipulation. It feels like magic. Love bombing is when someone overwhelms you, deliberately, with affection, attention, and intensity. In the beginning. Before you even know who they really are. Constant texts. Constant compliments. I've never met anyone like you. You're different. I feel like I've known you forever. It feels incredible. It feels like finally being seen. But here's what's actually happening. They're building dependency before you've had time to evaluate them. Think about it like a drug. They give you the highest high first. Then they slowly pull it back. And now you're chasing something you never even asked for. You're addicted to their approval, and they know it. The real-life version? You meet someone. First 2 weeks, they're perfect. Texts every morning. Date nights. Deep conversations. Then week 3 hits, and they're distant. Cold. Different. And you, hooked on that first rush, start bending yourself to get it back. That's the trap. You're not chasing love. You're chasing relief. Most people never notice this until they've already given up massive pieces of themselves trying to get back to the beginning. And here's where it gets dangerous. Love bombing is the entry point for almost every controlling relationship. It's not the middle. It's not the end. It's the door. Know what the door looks like before you walk through it. Section 3, Triangulation. The invisible competition. This one is subtle. And it's vicious. Triangulation is when a controller introduces a third party into your dynamic, real or implied, to make you feel like you're competing, to make you feel replaceable, to keep you anxious, proving yourself constantly. Sounds like this: my ex never had a problem with this. Sarah from work actually gets me. Everyone else thinks you're overreacting. See what they're doing? They're not having a conversation with you. They're surrounding you with invisible judges, all of whom seem to agree you're the problem. And here's the psychological mechanism underneath it. Humans are wired to compete for social belonging. It's primal. When someone implies you could be replaced, your nervous system lights up. You stop thinking critically. You start appeasing. That's exactly what the controller wants. The real-life version? Your boss constantly mentions how the last person in your role handled things better. You don't get angry. You get anxious. You work harder. You stop pushing back. You shrink. Mission accomplished for them. But here's the truth. Anyone who weaponizes comparison against you is not trying to improve you. They're trying to destabilize you. A person who genuinely cares about you makes you feel secure, not perpetually auditioned. The moment you feel like you're competing for someone's basic respect, you've already lost. And so have they. Section 4, Intermittent Reinforcement. The slot machine effect. This might be the most powerful trick on this list. Because it doesn't just control you, it addicts you. Here's the science. B.F. Skinner discovered something chilling. When you reward a behavior randomly, not consistently, not never, but randomly, you create the strongest possible behavioral loop. More powerful than consistent reward. More powerful than consistent punishment. It's why slot machines are more addictive than guaranteed payouts. And some people, intentionally or not, run this program on the humans around them. Here's what it looks like in real life. Some days they're warm, funny, engaged. You feel connected. You feel chosen. Other days, cold. Dismissive. You don't know what you did. You replay everything. You try harder. You become more attentive, more available, more agreeable. Then they're warm again. The relief is overwhelming. And your brain, your brilliant, pattern-seeking, reward-chasing brain, logs that pattern as effort equals love returns. So you keep pulling the lever. This is why people stay in toxic relationships long past every rational reason to leave. It's not stupidity. It's neuroscience. The brain is physically bonded to the uncertainty of that person. And here's where it gets really dark. Some controllers do this on purpose. They track what makes you happy and then withhold it. Strategically. They create the drought so the rain feels like a miracle. Understanding this doesn't just help your relationships. It explains your entire emotional history with certain people. Section 5, Guilt Weaponization. The debt you never agreed to. Everyone's felt guilt. That's normal. But there's a version of guilt that someone installs in you like software. And it runs in the background of everything you do. Guilt weaponization is when someone consistently frames your healthy, normal behavior as harm to them. So that your independence, your needs, your boundaries, all feel like betrayal. Sounds like, after everything I've done for you, I guess I'm just not important to you. Fine. Don't worry about me. Notice what these phrases do. They don't address your actual choice. They reframe it as abandonment, as cruelty, as a moral failure. And guilt, real, legitimate guilt, is one of the most motivating human emotions. It exists to correct genuine harm. Controllers hijack that system. They trigger guilt for things that aren't actually harmful. They make your self-preservation feel like selfishness. The real-life version. You want to spend the weekend with your friends. Your mother says you never have time for family anymore. You haven't left yet, and you already feel like a bad person. So you cancel. That's the install working perfectly. But here's the truth. Guilt that consistently comes from pursuing your own healthy life is not your conscience. It's someone else's control panel. Real love does not make you pay for existing. Section 6. Silent treatment. The invisible punishment. Most people think the silent treatment is just immaturity, childishness. No. In the hands of a controller, silence is a weapon. Here's what it actually does psychologically. When someone you care about abruptly withdraws communication, no warning, no explanation, your brain interprets it as a social threat. Rejection, abandonment, danger. Your cortisol spikes. Your anxiety surges. You start scanning for what you did wrong. You apologize. You reach out. You over-explain. You make yourself smaller just to end the silence. And they know this will happen. The silent treatment isn't absence of communication. It's communication. It says, behave the way I want, or I disappear. And the longer they sustain it, the more desperate your nervous system becomes. The real-life version. You have a disagreement. Instead of talking it through, they go completely dark. No response. No acknowledgement. Days pass. You're a wreck. They're fine. When they finally return, they act like nothing happened. Or they accept your apology for something that was never your fault. This is not a personality quirk. This is operant conditioning. You are being trained to associate conflict with abandonment so that you never bring up conflict again. Most people never notice this pattern until years of self-silencing later. Section 7. Identity erosion. The long game. This is the last one. And it's the one that takes the longest to see. Because it doesn't happen all at once. It happens in millimeters. Identity erosion is the slow, systematic dismantling of who you are, your preferences, your beliefs, your confidence, your sense of self, until you become someone who is easier to control. It happens through small repeated moments. Your music taste gets mocked. You stop playing it around them. Your opinion gets dismissed. You start hedging before you speak. Your friends get subtly criticized. You see them less. Your ambitions get minimized. You stop talking about them. None of these feel like big events. Each one is just a moment, a comment, a look. But over months, over years, you look up and realize you don't quite recognize yourself anymore. Your life has quietly reorganized around someone else's comfort. And the most terrifying part? You did most of it voluntarily. Because each small concession felt like love, like compromise, like being a good partner, a good child, a good employee. But here's the truth. Love does not require you to disappear. Anyone who is most comfortable when you are most diminished does not love you. They love having you. There is a massive difference. Here's the thing nobody talks about. Most people who use these tricks aren't villains. They're not sitting in dark rooms plotting your psychological downfall. They learned these patterns from their own controllers, their parents, their past relationships, their survival strategies from childhood. That doesn't make it okay. But it means something important. Awareness is the exit. The moment you can name what's happening to you, it loses most of its power. Gaslighting needs your self-doubt to survive. Love bombing needs your hunger for validation. Intermittent reinforcement needs your hope. Silence needs your fear of abandonment. And identity erosion needs your willingness to shrink. Take any of those away, and the whole system collapses. You are not powerless. You were just uninformed. Not anymore. So here's where I leave you. Think back to that person you thought of at the beginning. You feel it now, don't you? That recognition. That uncomfortable click of pieces falling into place. Some of you are going to rewatch this, because the first time, you were listening for someone else's story. The second time, you'll hear your own. If something in this video made your chest tighten, don't ignore that. That discomfort is not weakness. That's your mind finally catching up to something your gut has known for a long time. You cannot unsee what you've seen today. And that is exactly the point. Share this with someone who needs it. They won't know why it feels personal, but they'll feel it. PsycheTrap. See you in the dark.